Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And as you can see, we're both wearing head paraphernalia because our birthdays are 9 days apart. So when the show is in between our birthdays, we wear the show that is in between. We wear a crown, or is that a hat? Is that flashing?
This is Minnie Mouse crown.
Minnie Mouse ears. Okay, yeah. I couldn't figure out what that was. Okay, but my birthday was Saturday, this past Saturday, and Rhonda's
and mine is Monday.
So, it's all good. It was meant to be. Even our birthdays are close, but our personalities are different. It's complementary. Well, it works. So one thing, both of us are about business. That's something that we both are about, and it's very helpful because that's not always the case with people you deal with. So anyway, we have another great show tonight. The only housekeeping notes I have are that the book festival registration is at 96% capacity. So we only have like 4 slots left. And if we don't have a waiting list. So if you're thinking you may be able to get on a waiting list, we don't have one, because what we do is we have built-in drop-off, because we always have a certain percentage that drop off. So we don't do a waiting list. If you don't get in, you have to wait until next year. So it's going to be a great event this year. It's really shaping up to be a great event. We have one book to give away, and it's for our second guest, so we'll wait until then. What else do I have? Any other notes about the festival? I can't think of it. If I think of it, I'll do it after this first interview. So, in fact, the first interview is with a guest who will be one of the registered participating authors at this year's festival. So you get to see her on screen tonight, and then you get a chance to meet her in person at this year's event. And she has a book called Shine,
Baby Shine.
It's a transformational story. I believe it's a memoir. And she has a cocoon on the front of her book, which is a symbol of transformation. So Sharon Pitts, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hello, thank you all for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I'm excited to be here. And it is Shine Baby Shine, a transformational journey from brokenness to becoming.
Okay. And kudos to you for, in terms of your marketing, that you have your book cover already there, so you don't even have to hold up a cover of your book. You already have it there, so people already know what it's about.
Well, I absolutely love the background, because the background and the book cover are so complementary. So I'm quite sure that your background is your book cover, basically.
Correct.
Yes.
That's correct. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like the sun shining through like the Amazon or a forest.
Yeah, it should exemplify the sun, the light shining through the darkness.
Okay.
That's what the book, the transformational journey, is more like, from darkness to light. I'm telling my own story. I go back to my childhood to understand my trauma, to help me reconcile my adult drama. So And in doing that, I was transformed. So I used the caterpillar to cocoon to butterfly transformation metaphor throughout the book to communicate a transformational journey to my audience.
Okay, where are you joining us from?
Houston, Texas.
Oh, okay, so you're right here in town where I am.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm actually in Crosby, Texas, but I say Houston for those not familiar with Crosby.
Right,
Yeah, it's kind of
right.
like me. I live in Accokeek, Maryland. I just tell people I'm in DC.
I
Yeah.
love your pearls.
Oh,
And
thank
crowns.
you.
I just noticed we got crowns and pearls. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, it's our
it's
Yeah,
my
birthday. This
birthday
is
yeah.
our
show.
birthday show.
Oh,
So my birthday was Saturday, and Rhonda's is this coming Monday. So because our birthdays are 9 days apart, whenever the show that's between our birthdays, we celebrate with our crowns. So
Well, happy birthday and happy belated birthday.
well,
thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you. Every birthday is a good one. That's why, if you got your health and you got your marbles still rolling
Absolutely.
around, there's no need to complain because not everybody can say that. So, what made you decide to put your journey into a book?
Well, that's an interesting question. Um, I mentor in a lot of capacities, adults, youth, and kids. And I started noticing a theme. A lot of the individuals in the circles that I engage in from a mentor perspective, they struggle. They struggle to find their space in this world, to understand their worth and their value. And when I would, encourage them, my thing would always be for the adults, particularly, there's sunshine in the midst of hell. Um, but for me, because I seem to always be upbeat, and I am upbeat, I live on the fun side of life, and I'm positive. When I try to have those conversations, try to encourage people, they just see the smile. They don't know the darkness, that I had to make it through. And so I said, the more I started seeing my younger self in people, I said, you know what, let me put pen to paper and tell my story and be very real, authentic, raw. So the book is like a drama. You're on a whirlwind. You feel like you're on in a whirlwind. Some of the feedback is, wow, I felt like I was watching a Lifetime movie. But I wrote the book in a way to where I take the reader along with me and I give them space to read, to journal, to reflect, to pray. So, yeah, I wanted to encourage my readers, inspire them to shine, baby, shine.
No,
Despite the darkness, how do you come out that darkness?
that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story. Now, I usually like to ask people who are brave enough to pen their memoir, what is it like to relive memories? Because when you decide to sit down and write your memoir, often you start to experience much of the trauma that you thought that you had gotten over. And you start to relive some things, and you're like, when you think about it, you're like, oh, I've gotten past that. I can talk about it. I'm okay. But then you start to write about it, and those memories start to come right back. And
Yeah.
I know sometimes when I think about my daughter and I think about what um do I really want to tell her about something, and I'll think about things that I went through, and I'm like, man, do I really want to tell her this? And then I'll start to think about some things that I went through in my past. I'm like, do I really want her to know about this? And all those things start coming back. And then I start to relive things that I thought I got over. And it starts to come back. So then when I have to write these things down, then I start to relive those things. So what is it like when you start to relive those things?
So how it was difficult. It was very difficult, and I had to have a conversation with myself. Thank God I got some really cool family members, that I could talk to about some of the stuff, that I was wanted to write, but to your point, yeah, but I never shared this. These are not things that I typically would talk about. I'll give you high level, but I don't go deep.
Yes.
And so because people were so vulnerable with me, as people from a Christian perspective, people share things with you and they like you're the key. They're going to give it to you. You lock it up and you don't share it with nobody else. I learned that when they were sharing it with me, just to be able to share it with someone and that person to come back and maybe share something with them, it helps people break free from the darkness that's keeping them bound. So for me, it was difficult. To your point, I cried a lot. Being a Christian, I said, God, I'm gonna write this book. At first, I was gonna write it from where I am in my relationship with God right now. But then I said, but you wasn't there in my life back then. So I thought, you know how that goes. But I needed to write it from where I was at that point in time. Yeah. And I did not know God. I did not have a relationship with him. And so I started writing, and it was a lot of tears because some things I didn't realize. The book starts off with me looking at a license how you get a license in the mail and you look at that picture and you're like, oh, that's sometimes you're good, sometimes you're like, well, mine was screaming help. I mean, I had my hazel contacts on back then. I had my makeup right. I had my hair done right, but I looked like death warmed over in the picture. It's like something, life had been sucked out of me. Mm-hmm. And I had to stop and say, what happened? And so that's kind of like how the book starts, with me looking at that license plate. And then when I went back and started trying to figure out what happened, it was a lot had happened that I had packed in. I was a big girl. I'm from a family where, we're tough. We don't show emotions. We don't cry. We don't do all that stuff. So I realized why we're like that. It's because we've been holding stuff in. Mm-hmm. We haven't been releasing. And there was some traumatic things that took place that I've never released.
Well, in your defense, I think at the DMV, I think they intentionally do something with the camera to make you look like you're either a criminal or a hostage.
I love it.
Those DMV pictures are terrible.
This one was particularly, it was horrible, but I eventually found out that it really was a depiction of someone holding on to a lot of stuff and not releasing it. So today I can take a picture, not that they're that much greater, but I can look at those pictures now and see some light in my eyes. that picture, there was no light. So much so that I showed it to this back then when my best friend saw it, she said, "Ooh, what happened to you?" I know, right? I was like, look, what is that? But you kind of like in the book, I'm really encouraging people to do what I did. And I'm not just encouraging them, I'm giving them space to think through it and prompts to help them journal and really try to uncover some things. For me, my journey started off, my very, very first memory was with my grandma in bed between 3 to 11 months old. And she was holding me and smiling, and there was light in the room. And I contrast that to how my life was going. It was like, I started with all this light around me. Where did all this darkness come from? So I was able to write it and share some of the darkness, and then how I came out of it.
Okay. You have several friends watching. So one of them, Rhonda Curry Coffees, asked, she said, please ask her what brought her to sitting down and penning Shine, Baby Shine. So you pretty much have told us about that. Then someone else, she also asked, what phase of your metamorphosis would you say was the most difficult to share?
Oh, wow. That's it was definitely the caterpillar stage, which was the stage where I was just going through life like a caterpillar. And everything's big around you and you're trying to figure things out and you're tripping over stuff and you just can't get it right. For me, in my developmental years, very young, trying to understand life, I saw arguing, fighting, stabbings, shootings. I saw all that and my eyes was taking it in and trying to make sense of it. As a child, the way the adults around me handled it, I wasn't necessarily falling apart, if that makes sense, because of how they handled it. It was almost like my mom in the book stabbed someone, but it was in self-defense. So you don't think, well, that's self-defense. She didn't stand up for herself. She ends up shooting someone. That's self-defense too, right? So you like, it's self-defense. But when I started writing and I started realizing the girl who was standing there watching in the fear, seeing a knife and knowing someone's stabbed, seeing the stab or seeing someone about to get shot, and seeing it, it was that piece that hit me when I was in my caterpillar stage that I realized, whoa. And that was really difficult because it's like I started crying and releasing all of those emotions that I didn't release back then.
I can tell the caterpillar stage was the most impactful for you because that was the stage that you chose to depict on your cover.
Yes. Yes. The cocoon is the stage that you
right.
see. You see.
Yeah. Well.
I'm
looking at the cocoon on the cover, and because the caterpillar the caterpillar and the cocoon are very much related. So yeah. I'm looking at your cover, and when you're describing your caterpillar stage, and I'm looking at your cover, I'm like, those are very much related.
Yes, they are. The cocoon, when the caterpillar and right, so the caterpillar goes inward,
right,
into that cocoon, and becomes a chrysalis and you can see the brokenness in the cover. I was so broken in so many different places at that time. And that picture is a good picture of how we are sometimes. We all know that I'm going to end up being something very beautiful.
And that's where I was about to go, because what comes after the cocoon?
Yes, exactly. But in the book, what I try to get the reader to see is that you have to survive the cocoon. And I give prompts and meditations and things about what was going on, while I was in the cocoon. Because the cocoon for me came after I realized all the trauma that I had been experiencing that I hadn't really addressed. And then I had to go inward and start dealing with those things. And how do you do that when you're in an environment where this is normal? Everyone's high strung. This is how we communicate, the yelling, the cursing, the screaming, the fighting. That was just normal. But what I found was that I had to detach myself from the environment not forever, but for long enough for me to heal and understand who I was. Because one of the biggest revelations for me when writing this was I was living someone else's life. All the decisions and choices that I was made were instilled in me by adults, right? They tell you how to show emotions, when to engage, when not to engage, what you should be thinking about when you get out of school. Everything I had been doing in life was based on someone else's life decisions. And I was just following the breadcrumbs that they were giving me. And then I realized, wait, I'm different, right? I have emotions. I like to laugh. I didn't even know I liked to laugh. That was what's so funny when I was when I was growing up, everything was so serious. When I started laughing and laughing loud, it was strange. I like to hug. I like to feel a warm embrace. I like to say I love you. But those were not things that I grew up, an environment that I grew up in.
When you were growing up, you didn't know you liked to laugh and you'd like to hug.
No.
You probably didn't get a lot of it.
No, I did not. But what I did get was strong work ethics. I knew that my parents loved me and that they would provide for me. I knew how to respect people. I knew how to conduct myself in certain environments. I got a lot of good stuff, but I was missing the touchy feely parts.
Yes.
The empathies, those type things. I understood why, that was the environment I grew up in, and it was really helpful to understand, the world that my parents grew up in and how they had been taking care of themselves since they were teenagers. They stepped into a world without a roadmap. They were trying to figure it out on their own. So, I saw that and I understood it. But then I became grateful that certain people came in my life that laughed. And I have a best friend, she would touch me, and it used to be the running joke. I move 2 steps towards you, Sharon, you take 4 steps back. If I touch you, you cringe. Why is that? But I had people in my life that introduced those things to me, and I embraced them. And the more I started embracing different environments, different people's ways of life, I started understanding who I was as a person. And I think a lot of people are I know a lot of people walking the same journey. They just need some help bringing out that best person, the person they were meant to be. And getting past what you were saying earlier, I call it the stigmas, the brandings, what people will say. I had to get past all of that to write this book.
Right.
And you have some more. You have a question from Lane's Leon. And is Lane's a male or female? I can't tell. I don't see a picture.
Oh, I believe it's a female.
Okay, because lion, is it lions or lanes? Anyway, the question, she says, "Hi Sharon, I read your book and loved it. I know what it has done for me, for her," she's saying. Okay, if you could describe your book in 3 words, what would they be?
Oh my, it would be 3 words. If I'm thinking about the goal is a journey back to yourself. It would be definitely be authentic, transformative, inspirational, and transformative journey. Authentic, inspirational, and transformative.
Okay.
So you just came up with those words just like that.
Those are good words.
Very good words.
And she also asked the question, have any readers shared feedback that has surprised you?
That has surprised me? Oh, yes. One of the readers, it was at a book reading, and I actually asked her to speak at one of them. She shared that when she read my book and she got to the beginning where I was talking about the driver's license and how I looked in the driver's license, she ran and got her driver's license. And she started to cry because she said, "That's me." She said, "This person in this driver's license picture is hurting, has went through a lot. I can tell by looking at this picture that is telling the truth about my life and where I am."
Looking at her life. I'm sorry.
I went to vote just before the show, so I have mine right
here. Yes, that really was it was inspiring. And she said, this is the part that was inspiring. She said, if Sharon could, and I might not, I'm paraphrasing, if Sharon can find her way back to the light, then I can too.
Okay. Oh, that's
Beautiful.
good. It's good. So,
Well, how does it feel, just really quickly, how does it feel when you get this type of feedback and your book is hitting the mark that you meant for it, that you are actually making the impact that you were trying to make?
Right. So with reading the Amazon reviews, that's when it really hit me. Um, I felt grateful, I humbled. I was telling God, thank you, because the book I sat down to write and the book I wrote, although my goal was the same, they were different. Like I said, I wasn't gonna tell all that stuff, but it was really God telling me, you have to. Okay, now that I know I have to, you've sent enough people to tell me, how do I do it? How do I do it in a way that the audience is not getting caught up in the drama, right? Because
Yes.
it's a lot of drama. It starts
mhm.
off with a drama. I said, Lord, I don't want people to see it like a housewife show or something like that. You know, something that they, ooh, did you know? I said, I don't want my book to be that book. I want my book to change lives. If I don't make a penny, and matter of fact, people say, quit giving your book away. I said, well, I'm more interested in changing lives. And to see that and let me know that I hit the mark, I'm humbled and I'm grateful to God for giving me the story, telling me how to write, helping me write that story. I guess is the best way to put it.
Amen. Amen. And that's the big thing. When you're making the impact that you either wanted to make or didn't expect to make, that's a blessing.
Yes.
So
It is.
congratulations.
Thank you,
Now,
lady.
Eva Brown Curry has a question. When did you feel at peace with what you were doing with your life, the way it was going? At what point?
At
Like,
what point?
mhm.
When I started saying no and was okay with it.
uh,
especially especially to families, people that were close to me. When you are a people pleaser, and then all of a sudden you stop, there's a lot of misunderstanding, that comes with it. You can be shunned in some areas. There's just a lot of misunderstandings. People think that you think you're better than them or all kinds of stuff that you have to deal with. But when I finally got past, I'm good, and I can still smile, and I don't have to keep calling trying to pacify people to get them to understand who Sharon is. Um, I knew I was at peace. So even my family used to say, "Oh, that's just Sharon. Oh, that's just Sharon." That's how Sharon is. But now they don't say that as much anymore. You know, it's more on the happy side. Y'all, if you want somebody to talk to, a laugh with, a smile, call Sharon. The conversation has changed now. So yeah, when I was okay with saying no and comfortable in my own skin, once I understood what my skin was, not somebody
Amen.
else, in my own shoes, I guess. Yeah.
There you go. Unfortunately, we're down to like the last couple of minutes, but I wanted you to take this time to let everybody know where can they find your book. And well, you've already told us what you want people to get from the book, but where can we find your book and where can people connect with you?
So you can get my book on Amazon. It's in the Kindle hardcover as well as the soft paperback. And then to connect with me to get a list of events that I'm speaking at, you can go to shinebabyshine.org. I'm actually going to be at you all's event in October.
Yay! I
So,
get to see you in
October Book
yes,
person.
Festival.
yes,
We'll get to
yes,
meet you in person.
yes, yes. So yeah, shinebabyshine.org.
Okay.
Awesome. And I did put your link in the chat. So if I know there are a lot of people in the comments, I wish we can read all of the questions that are in the comments. But we will say if you have not read this very powerful book, please click the link and purchase this book because there are a lot of beautiful truths in in this book, Sharon does a beautiful job with just breaking things down so that everybody can understand. So let's support this author. So click the link, purchase the book, and leave a review. I tell people all the time, leave a review. There are a lot of people who will not touch a book unless they read the review. So read the review. It really goes a long way. It actually matters.
Yes, it does. Well, I want to tell you all, thank you. Enjoy your birthdays. Well, I know one is already passed, but I really love the way you all celebrate your birthdays together. And thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, and God bless you. And I look forward to meeting you in October.
Okay, same here. Thank you, ladies.
Same here. Good night. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to remember when we exactly decided to do this. It was in year 2, I think. And we'll be celebrating our 6th anniversary next month. The show will be 6.
Time flies, doesn't
it? It's amazing. It's really even from one birthday show to the next birthday show went by like a lot. Like we just had this. I just pulled it out. So our next guest is coming on, and her book is the one that we're giving away. So her name is Amena Brown, and she's an author and spoken word artist. And we give away our books based on trivia. So we're going to do the trivia before we get into the interview, just in case she spills the beans during the interview. So
First of all, I love the title. The title is everything.
It is everything. Never Tell a Black Girl How to Black Girl by Amena Brown. And so the trivia is the author, Amena Brown, went to an HBCU. She graduated from HBCU. Which HBCU did she graduate from? And the first person to get the correct answer will get, this is an ARC. This is an advanced reading copy. We will be mailing that to you. The publisher sent it to us. So, Amena, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're
excited to have you. And I'm gonna save my story until after the answer is posted in the comments.
All right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lydia Brew got the answer.
Yeah, she did. Lydia, and somebody else tried right after her, but Lydia Brew beat everybody else to the punch. And so, Lydia, we already have your address because you won books before. So
and Lydia be on it because see, when Lydia doesn't win, she messages me. And she'll be like, I got that answer first. I'm like, Lydia, so-and-so got the answer first. And it's like, no, I didn't. I was first. So Lydia, congratulations for being first.
Congrats.
Good job, Lydia. Mm-hmm.
So the answer is Spelman. And it's a great, it's still a female college, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Changed it because, sometimes they change to, they might start off being one gender and then they change it to co-ed.
No, Spelman is not going anywhere.
Spelman is not going anywhere.
I believe Spelman will always be an all-women's institution.
Okay.
Indeed.
Right. Now, did your daughter go to Spelman? No, she went to Clark Atlanta.
My daughter went to Clark Atlanta University, and as she always says, the only university in the AUC.
That's right. That's right. She's right.
She loves to say that. That was going to be my little story.
She is correct. Yeah, that is right.
I will tell you, everybody has their sources of pride. Every student who goes to one of those schools in the AUC has their source of pride. And Clark Atlanta has their slogan, find a way or make a way. Yeah. And the only university in the AUC. That's two things that they love to say. Find a way or make a way, and the only university in the AUC. But I will tell you, those 3 schools, they love their schools.
True.
You can't say anything. You better not say anything about those 3 schools.
That's right.
Now,
they can talk about each other, but don't come from outside the AUC and say anything bad about any of those 3 schools.
Absolutely not. I won't have it. I will not have
Exactly.
that. No.
So what
Mm-mm.
is Spelman's like slogan, or what do they say about?
When I was on campus, the slogan was, "You can always tell a Spelman woman, but you can't tell her much."
Ooh, I like
Oh, okay.
that. I
That's
like that.
cute. That's cute. So the slogans might change generational.
Yes, they
Like, oh,
do. Hmm.
okay, okay. Well, that's one of the things that I admire about people who go to HBCUs. Um, One, their school years that seem to be so much fun, so much pride, and all. I didn't go to one, so my daughter did though. Everybody in my family went to one. My siblings, everybody except me. But there's so much pride, and people, go back for homecomings. My daughter went to every homecoming. I think she graduated in 2018 from North Carolina Central.
Oh, I
But
didn't know.
Yes,
I
come
don't know
on,
why I didn't
Central.
realize that our girls graduated the same year.
I think your
No, I
daughter's
take that
younger than
back. No, I
mine.
take that back. My daughter graduated from high school in 2018. Your daughter graduated from
It's from college in
college in 2018. Okay, I knew
20.
2018
He
was,
was there for some
yeah.
reason. Yeah, we both have daughters. That's not. I mean, it's interesting some of the things that Rhonda and I share, and we have our birthday crowns on because our birthdays are 9 days apart. So
Yeah.
mine was
Ooh,
Saturday, and hers is Monday. So we share our
okay.
crowns on the in between show. So, but
I love it.
yeah, we both have daughters, and they're similar age, not the same, but it's interesting. So, and raising girls is different from raising boys.
Absolutely.
Um, I have stepsons, but having your own is different from raising someone else's children. I tell them that. Now, I mean, I have a great relationship with them as adults, but you know, it's different raising your kids versus raising someone else's children. It's a difference. So anyway, let's get into your book. Now, did you come up with this title yourself?
I did. This title was originally a poem that I performed for years.
Okay.
And so I took the title of the poem and made that the title of the book.
Oh, okay. And it's a book of essays
Yes.
on different topics. And one of
Hmm.
them that I looked at, and I didn't get a chance to read the book. I got a chance to browse through the book. But the one that, you know how sometimes the first page you turn to is the one that's impactful. You have a chapter in here on being at the beauty salon. And I thought
Yes.
that was, some things are cultural and you can't explain them to someone outside. And if they try to tell you, they don't know because it's our culture. And
That's right.
so the beauty salon, now when I go, I always go when I'm the only person there. I'm the first one in because I don't want to wait. I don't want
Mhm.
I don't want three heads to get wet and then I'm sitting there waiting all day long. No.
Yeah,
I'm the first
don't wet my
appointment.
hair until you're ready to do my hair. Don't have me sitting there
Mm-mm.
with a wet head
Mm-mm.
and then you
No.
don't come back to me for another three
No,
hours.
nobody wants that.
No.
Nobody wants that. Mm-mm. At all.
Because that's how
Nope.
they get you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
Exactly.
that's
Because
how
you're
they
like,
get
oh,
you
I thought I was
right.
going to be here for 2 hours. Now has 6 hours passed. And I
Yes, and
thought,
I go
mm-mm.
during the week because I'm not gonna spend 6 hours anywhere like that.
So,
Anywhere.
but
But
what do all the essays have in common?
So there are 6 parts to this book, and one of them is hair because I felt I couldn't write a book with this title without talking about hair. One of them is food because I am a Southern Black girl. And so there are lots of traditions and who has to be vetted in order to cook certain things in the family. So I wanted to get into that in the food section. There is a section on sort of what I feel I wanted to be like body acceptance. There's definitely an essay about titties in that section as well because I
I
I've wanted
love it.
titties for so long and I wanted to write about that. So I did. There is a section about my church girl shenanigans and therapy because they do go together. So I wrote about that. And there is a section on relationships, dating and marriage. And then there is a section on pop culture. So I wanted to sort of have those as the buckets for the essays, and there are poems mixed in throughout the book as well.
Okay, so it's essays and poems.
Yeah.
Are
Mhm.
they all your original poems?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay.
I'm a spoken word poet. And so one of the rules of spoken word is originality. It's you being able to write your own work and perform your own work. So that's always been really important to me.
Love. Okay.
Okay. So you started writing poetry first? Is that
I did. That was my
okay?
first genre. I started as a child. I was probably about 12 years old when I started writing outside of class. And my mom, I was raised by a single mom, and my mom would say, "Hey, I want you to write. I want you to do all those things." But she would say, "If I find it, I'm reading it." So my mom did not believe in privacy, as some
Ooh,
parents probably do
okay.
today. She was like, I'm gonna open it up. If I find a notebook, I was in high school and junior high when we were writing each other handwritten notes and passing them in between class, right? So my mom said, if I find it, I'm reading it. And she actually found my work when I was a child. And
Mm.
she read it and she said, I think these poems are actually really good. But of course, she's my mom. You know, your mom thinks you're a genius when you tie your shoes, you know. So
Come on, but
I didn't
shouts out
think
to the
to
mamas. Shouts out to the mamas who
listen.
find your work and pour into you
She
instead of
did.
making fun of it or discouraging it. They pour into it and encourage it because had she not done that, who knows if you had become a writer later on.
Oh, I wouldn't. I am totally here because of her, because she took one of my poems my last year of high school. And if anyone here is familiar with the NAACP Act So competition, which still
Yes.
happens to this
Uh-huh.
day,
Uh-huh.
right? So my mom took one of my pieces my last year of high school and submitted it to Act So competition in the poetry category. But she did this without telling me. And she didn't tell me until I won in my category. And she said, hey, on Saturday, these people are going to give you an award. You're going to go there and you're going to read your own work in front of them. And I don't know how the young people do it, but I know that I was not going to be able to tell my mom I'm not going. I didn't want to go, but I wasn't going to tell her that I wasn't going. So we went to sort of for me to go receive my award. And I performed my poetry in public for the first time and fell in love with it. But if she had not pushed me, oh, I never would have done it. I was a shy kid. I would never have submitted for anything like that. So I am here writing because of my mother, for sure.
I would have never guessed you were a shy kid. You don't seem shy at all. You know, you
Yes, I
know,
was very shy. I was very withdrawn. I think if you would have told 8-year-old me, you're going to grow up and be a stage performer and write books and travel around, I would have been so nervous. I would have thought, no, not me, not me. But I grew up in a wonderful Black church that really gave me the opportunity to be on a stage, to say my Easter speech, to say Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman, you know, to really learn how to use my voice really well. So I grew up in a community that valued that. But if they had not continued to push me, oh no, I never would be doing this.
yeah. A lot of people may not realize or may not have had the benefit of growing up in a Black church that's very community oriented, um, because some of them are and some aren't. Um, I think some of that is not as common now as it was
Right.
years ago. My dad was a pastor. I'm a PK, so we had to be in all of the programs. We had to remember for all of the holidays. The Easter program, the Christmas program. We didn't do Black History at church, but we did it at school. And my teacher um, in elementary school in fourth, fifth, and seventh grade. Now I won't go into why she I kept meeting her every time I graduated, but she was also a member of my church. So she
Oh,
would have me do stuff at school. And she wasn't over the children's ministry at church, but she was like the key person at the school that had us do pageants and things. And we did a major Black History Month program where people would dress up as the different people in history. And then
Oh, I like that. I
they would
remember that.
they would
Yeah.
talk about, go on stage and talk about how the person's life, or give like a just a like a synopsis of what the person was about. And, those kinds of things really do give children courage and confidence as they go into adulthood for doing interviews and all kinds of things.
It's true, because you get that opportunity to do what you're doing in front of an audience of people that love you, that want to see you win, that even if you pause and forget, they're going to say, you got it, baby. You can do it. They're going to support you. And it's an environment and a space that so many people don't have the opportunity to have in their families, at school, or in a church environment. So I feel so thankful that I had that growing up.
Yeah. So we had, I saw a question. What made you take a poem all the way to a book? That's one of the questions from the viewers.
Well, I started out performing poetry. So because I was performing, I did albums for a long time. I quietly have 5 spoken word albums. That's some of it's poetry to music, some of it's me in front of an audience, but I never really put the poetry in a book. And so this book actually was originally going to be a book of poems. And then my literary agent said, can you just put some essays in it too? Just like in the book proposal. So I put a couple of essays there, and my publisher, Tiny Reparations, said, we love these essays. Can you give us a book that's 85% essays? And then it will have poems to sort of be sprinkled throughout. So that was kind of a fun way to give the book some poetry while also having the essays there. It's difficult for me in being a stage performer and writing a book because you have to accept people are going to read this book without you. They're not there watching you on stage.
Yeah, you can't stand over their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You can't perform everything for them. So
they have to receive it as it stands on the page.
Exactly.
So there were a couple of things in some of the poems, like one of the poems in this book, Dear TV Sitcoms, actually ends with me singing the theme song to Cheers whenever I perform it. I've been performing it for years. We can't afford the rights to Cheers in this book. So in this book, the lyrics to Cheers are not there. So that's a thing you can only experience on stage. There are several essays here that started out as comedic stories that I told on stage. So I had to reverse engineer, how can I make the punchline land in the story without me, without my voice, without those things. Now, of course, there's the audiobook, and I did do the audiobook myself because I said I wrote a book full of my business and nobody is reading my business but me was my decision there. But it was special to me. And I will say for any listeners and people who are viewing here that are more audiobook folks, the audiobook has a very special feature that I'm really proud of. The poems in this book are performed to a Black girl audience on the audiobook. So when you get to the poem, you will hear the voices of Black women talking, clapping. My mom was in the studio. My sister and her wife were in the studio, my friends. So I wanted it to feel like my shows feel a little bit. And we wanted to give the audiobook a little bit of that feature.
That's awesome. So now, did you write all of the essays yourself or did you have help?
I have never had help writing a book. This is my 3rd book. And I have written them all myself.
Wow,
I actually didn't know until, yes, it is. I didn't know until my 2nd book that there were people who could help you, write your book. I didn't know. So I was just writing along until I finished my 2nd book.
Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, no shade. I was just wondering.
Oh, no, absolutely not a shade.
People
absolutely.
Submit essays or was it... I was thinking maybe an anthology or something like that.
Okay. So these are all yours. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And no shade to the people who have the people to help them write. If I had known, I probably would have let them help me, but I didn't know. So I wrote it myself.
Okay. And
so do you do stand-up comedy too?
I will tell you that
because you're funny. I just want you to know.
I know, that's why.
And I thank you. There's dissension among the ranks because I feel like I'm a storyteller who's funny. My friends who are comedians say they don't want to hear me say that. They think I am also a comedian. So I'm still workshopping what that title is. But if you were to go to my shows are a combination of poetry, comedy, and storytelling all mashed up. together in an hour. So I do perform comedy, yes, and it's a lot of fun. And this book is a book of comedic essays. So these essays are written from a comedic lens, which was a lot of fun to write.
Yeah, I can tell. Just and the one about the beauty salons, because that is it's like the barbershops. There's certain things. It's certain things are discussed there. People tell their business, and everybody sends signs an NDA, but not
Oh, right.
actually.
Right. Whatever happens in
Yeah,
the
what
salon
happens in the salon
stays in the
stays in the
salon,
salon.
except if it's very funny to tell to your friends, because we did leave with some people's business sometimes. But it was important to me to write about that because some of that culture is being lost in a way. And there are understandable reasons I know why a lot of Black hairstylists moved more towards sort of that like studio suite kind of vibe. So, like, I get why we had that change. But I wanted to write that as, in a way, like a time capsule of sorts, because there are people who have grown up and never been into that Black hair salon where the different booths and stations and the shampoo assistant and the reception and the people popping gum while they rolled their Marcells in your hair. I wanted to write about that so that people who lived that could remember it, but also so that people who are like, this isn't part of my experience. I was telling some friends recently that when I got my hair straightened as an adult, after I went natural and I got my hair straightened for the first time, my hairstylist took out that flat iron and I said, "Where is the pressing comb?" She said, "We're free now. We're free now.
We're
We don't
free.
use that." I didn't know.
Oh, no, we're free.
We're free.
The original beauty salon back in the day was your mama's kitchen,
That's
where
right.
Saturday night, all the girls got their hair done for church. And so I didn't go to a beauty salon. My mother did my hair until I left home for college. And I wore it natural, but it wasn't a relaxer, it was just pressed. But I wore an afro for a while when that was popular. And but I had never been to a beauty salon. My mother did my hair, and she was good. She had 10 sisters, so
They almost had a beauty
younger
school
end.
growing
They
up,
did.
basically. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because see, in my family, my grandmother was very committed to her hairdresser. She was in her hairdresser like every week, every 2 weeks on a dot.
Yeah.
My grandmother didn't do her own hair. So when
Okay.
my mother had my sister and I, my mom said, "Here are the rules." She was like, "In this house, we do not cut, we do not color, and we do not do chemicals in here." So she was like, "We can shampoo, we can condition, we can do all those things. But if it falls under those three C's, you
Okay.
will be going to a professional." Maybe I can count five, maybe a handful of times growing up that my mom put that pressing comb on the stove and went ahead and pressed my hair. But when I stayed with my grandma, she said, "You going to Miss Martha, honey. Go right.
Oh,
You going to go to my hairdresser. We both going to Miss Martha. Let Miss Martha press your hair. I'm tired. I'm not doing that." Mm-mm.
yeah. My grandmother lived in a real rural community in North Carolina. And the lady, and I can't think of her name right now to save my life, but the lady 2 houses over did hair. So
Oh.
that's where, and my grandmother had long hair, but she never had any kind of chemicals or anything. So she just wore like two long braids. That was how she
Mm-hmm.
wore her hair. But my aunts would go to that lady's house. I cannot remember. And I need to ask my sister what that lady's name was. But that was where, and the lady who did the hair. See, some of the stuff is Black community stuff. It's just our
That's right. That's
but
right.
she also had a candy store in her house. So we would go there to get the candy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you
See,
know?
The thing
exactly.
is, as much as we say that we're not a monolith, and we are not a monolith, there are certain things in our culture that almost every Black person, no matter how you grew up, we recognize from growing up, because it's our culture.
Right.
That's why when you look on social media and they say every Black person will understand these letters, and you put these letters together, you know
Right, right,
exactly what those letters are.
right. For
or
sure. I mean,
or
yes, like,
or those Thanksgiving, those Thanksgiving memes. I love those Thanksgiving memes
it's
because
true.
almost every Black person in the world recognizes them, no matter how you grew up, because
Hmm.
those are certain things from
Yeah,
our
certain
culture,
things
no
are
matter
culture.
who you are, no matter what you have done or what you recognized in life. We all kind of grew up recognizing certain things growing up.
Yeah,
Hmm.
even if it wasn't us directly in our household, it was
Right.
our grandparents or our aunts, or like in my case,
Right,
we used to
right.
go visit our grandmother for a couple of weeks in the summer. I lived
That's
in
right.
Virginia,
This is
but
why we all love Friday.
yeah.
We recognize something from Friday, that the movie Friday. We all recognize something from it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's and there's some, and you can't explain it to other people because they just have no concept of it. And
It's
but
really one of the things I love very bad about being Black, because there are some very like cross-cultural Black American things. Then there are international, like across the world, Black things. Like I have been in Rwanda and looked across the room at a Rwandan woman when something wild was happening wherever we were. And I looked at her and she went, just like that. And we didn't even speak words to each other, or might put our hands on our hips the same. And so those
Yeah,
elements of
yeah.
where we are same and we are very different. Like some of my friends who grew up in the Northeast have memories of going down south to be with their family. And I'm Southern. My people are from North Carolina as well, Gwen.
okay,
I'm
where in
actually
North Carolina?
My people are from Goldsboro, North Carolina, which is a
Okay,
little outside of Raleigh, Durham, for those of you that may not know
I heard
that
of them.
place. So, yes,
My
I'm,
people
I'm,
were Hillsborough and Mebane.
yes, I'm headed into family reunion this week. So I'm about to eat all of the pork that's available.
The pork
Yeah,
barbecue in North
yeah,
Carolina is so good. And I've been
it's
in
so
Texas
good.
a long time. And Texas barbecue is beef. It's a whole different thing. It's all brisket and beef and ribs and all that. But that pork barbecue is just, when I go to Virginia or North Carolina, I get something to bring back because I can't get it here. Here it's called pulled pork. It's not the same thing.
It's no, it's not the same, because I went to high school in San Antonio. So I had to
Oh,
learn a
okay.
few of those things. I was like, why does the barbecue look like that?
Yeah, I was
I've
like,
never
this
seen,
is a barbecue. The first time I ordered, oh,
I was like, what is
it's
that?
totally different.
Mm-mm.
It's not even a somewhat similar. It's a totally different food. So,
I'll tell you something else funny about my North Carolina family. We were planning a family reunion. We were trying to figure out what's going to be the menu. And I was like, well, obviously we're going to have a fish fry. And they were like, yes, we're going to have a fish fry. And I said, we're going to fry catfish, right? They said, we're not eating catfish anymore. I said, who said that? Why are we not eating catfish? My cousin and my grandma said, we're not eating catfish anymore because it's the pig of the sea. I said, but y'all are
I've
from North
heard
Carolina.
that.
You're eating pig of the land. So what? Like,
Oh my God. You know what? I am so mad that you
hmm?
started being this funny at the end of your doggone interview, and the interview is over now. I'm mad at you, Amina. We're gonna have to do a part two.
Listen, I'll come back. We have a lot to talk about. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. But I
Now you
told my
just
family we eating pig of the land, of the air, of the sea. I'm eating the pig. Like, I don't know.
okay. So now you just gonna have to tell the people where they can find your book and how we can reach
I have
out
the
to you.
copy of it, so I can show it for you.
Yes, yes. This book is out now. The book came out last Tuesday, so it is only a week old, out in the world.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. But you can find the book wherever you like to get your books. I'm encouraging people, if they can, to support our Black-owned bookstores as much as possible. But pick your favorite bookseller, your favorite place you want to get the book. I am at Amena Bee on Instagram. My name is spelled Amen with an A on the end. I would love to be your friend. We could talk about Pig of the Air. I would love to talk about it. Mhm.
Yeah, you save your comedy for the end because you, like, in the middle of the interview, you started dropping jokes, and then it's been on one after the other ever since. So, but it's so great. Congratulations on the book,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
continue to do your spoken word stuff.
Thank you so much. For my Texas people, I am headed to Houston and San Antonio for my book tour at the end of July. So any people who are in Texas, I'd love to see you. I am also headed to Cleveland, Detroit, and Chicago in July as well. And Essence Festival for all of us who will be there. So I'd love
Well,
to see the people.
where are you located now? You still in South Carolina?
I am in Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta to go to Spelman and I never left. So Atlanta is home now.
Oh,
Okay.
But all of my family is from North Carolina. My
well,
uncles, my aunts, my cousins.
we're gonna be in Atlanta next month.
Oh, please let me know. I'd love
We're
to
go-
see y'all.
National
we're
Book
gonna be
Club
at the
Conference.
National Book Club Conference.
Oh, fun. Yes, please let me know. That
It's
sounds
at
amazing.
the Western
Yeah,
something.
well, I tell you what, I just friended you. I just friended you on Instagram, Meet the World Image Solutions. That's me.
Fantastic.
And
Fantastic.
I'll send you the information.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah,
please. I would
Rhonda and
love
I will
that.
both be there. And we'll have an
Fantastic.
exhibit table. We talk about the show and
Yeah.
other stuff. So
Wonderful. Well,
yeah.
thank y'all for having me. I
Oh,
really
Thank you for
appreciate it.
being here. This was
yeah.
fun. We had a blast.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. Now our next guest, we've been having audiobook narrators. This will be this is our third one that we've had. I think
The third or fourth.
fourth
No, I
one
thought
or
we had
fourth
more than
one
that.
or
We
fourth one. But
probably didn't
anyway,
know some of them.
probably not. But because audiobooks are really taking off as a form of reading, and Rhonda's a big audiobook listener. So
Even though
um
I'm struggling with one of them right now. I'm still not gonna tell you which one it is.
okay. Yeah, well, the one that I told you about, I put it down. I did a DNF. So anyway, so this is the most
Look,
shallow.
the one I'm listening to, I thought I was almost done with it. I looked, I was like 6 more hours. I'm like,
I just couldn't. I'll give a book 50 pages. If I'm not impressed, I'm moving on because I got a bunch of my to be read shelves are shelves and baskets. I got books everywhere that I need to read. So if you don't get me in 50, I'm out of there. And of course, we don't say if we only say if it's a great book, we'll
yeah,
give the title.
I only say the
Yeah,
name and the author when I really like it. If I don't
right. We
like it,
don't put it in.
I'm not gonna
We don't put
embarrass
a
or
bad
call
word
out
in.
that author.
No, we don't.
I don't do that because other
Now
people might like that person.
we do DM each other and tell each other, but we don't put it out for public consumption. Anyway, Ashley Hobbs, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV, and we're so excited to have you.
Thank you both so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Well, we're excited to have you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Now, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from Central Jersey.
Oh, okay, from New Jersey. What
Mhm.
part of New Jersey exactly? I'm like, no.
Yeah, so I'm about 20 minutes south of Newark Airport, in like the Rahway area. I don't know if you're
I
familiar.
heard of Rahway.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where I'm at.
Rahway.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that I'm happy to interview Ashley because she has narrated a couple of books that I enjoyed, Happy Land and Kin.
And I gotta say, those are two of my top favorite that I've narrated. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah. I had a question that I didn't get to ask the other uh narrators, and I was wondering about this because when a book takes off and does really well, I was wondering if your money gets affected in a positive way. So, do you all get any royalties, or you just are paid a flat fee?
I'm paid a flat fee. I've never worked off of royalties before, but I will say that with the beautiful success of Kin,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of work has come my way in the past few months. And I have, there's no like,
Okay.
you can't trace it exactly to that, but I do have a
Okay.
feeling that that's where it's coming from for sure.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's like acting, and the other narrators have said the same thing. It's like acting in that when you play a great role, when you do a great job, then you get more work.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
probably get paid more. You can increase your fee, your
Yes.
rate.
Yes.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah.
do that as well. Yeah. For sure. And I always tell people too, one of the things that was helping me in my career as a narrator to this point, and I think even still now, is just being as available as possible. And it's the small things. It's like, yes, being very good at narrating, but being available, showing up on time. Do you know what I mean? And like really like being personable with people, it goes a really, really, really long way in the narration space. And I know like sometimes people are like, oh, well, you should do that for everything. And it's true, but in the narration space, it's especially helpful.
Hmm. So how
Yeah.
did you get into narrating?
I got into narrating because I guess my day job is a podcast producer. And
Okay.
I was
Hmm.
producing a show a few years ago, and we were trying to set up a chemistry read between two potential hosts. And one of the segments of the show was a guest would sort of like tell their testimony of their life. And so we had to simulate that because we didn't actually have an episode to go off of for the chemistry read. So I said, I'll just read an essay. And I read the essay for the chemistry read, and our head of production, shout out to Rich Burner, wherever he is now, he was like, have you ever thought about voiceover work and specifically audiobook narration? He was like, because you have such a soothing voice, that could work really well for audiobooks. And I was like, I never thought about it because I hated my voice for the majority of my life. I didn't like
Really?
my voice at all. I thought I sounded very childlike, and I hated to hear my voice back. But when I listened to myself reading the essay, I was like, okay, let's see where this could go. But I realized there was no like one path. It was very difficult to figure out what the path was to get into audiobook work. But I just so happened to listen to a podcast about voiceover, and some of the executives from Penguin Random House were on that podcast, and they were talking about the new, at the time it was brand new, database for audiobook narrators to upload samples, and you could potentially get cast off of Penguin's database. So I was like, well, let me go over there and do it. It's free. And I chose 3 different books. And I remember to this day, I chose Cicely Tyson's memoir because I loved it. I chose Toni Morrison's novel, Love, not Beloved, Love. And there was another fiction novel called The Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. And
You
I just
chose
read,
some heavy hitters.
I did.
You didn't just choose some random books.
No.
If you gonna go, just go.
But one of the pieces of advice that those execs gave, they said, when you read samples, when you submit samples from things that really make you feel
That
something,
makes sense.
because it's going to be the strongest thing for you to perform. And
Ah,
those were the things that I was just like, and I didn't have language for it then, but now I understand, like, I'm really good at narrating literary fiction, like, things akin, right? Or
yeah,
a Happy Land,
yeah.
things like that, because that's what resonates with me the most. Um, and I was cast off of putting my samples on Ahab's website. I had no experience, but that was a beautiful blessing to come my way that year, and so that's how I got started.
So a person can do audiobook narration with basically no experience, and not education doesn't seem to be a factor. You would have to be literate in terms of being able to read well. But that's a career because people are doing it now and as full-time work. Is that what you do full-time?
No, it's not full time. I would like for it to become full time. I split my time between producing podcasts and
Okay.
narrating audiobooks. And I love both, but I think I really do like just being able to sit in a booth for hours and read a book. I think that's slowly becoming the thing that I'm enjoying a little bit more. But for the right, for the right hosts and things, I love to produce their shows as well.
But I will say though that just I would push back a little bit on saying that it doesn't take um I think when you were saying it doesn't take a lot of training or it doesn't take education or what have you to do it. And the only reason I say that is just because I listen to so many audiobooks and I say it again and again and again that a narrator can make or break a book. And I have listened to so many audiobooks where the narrator was horrible and the story could have been a good story had the narrator been better. And I was listening to an audiobook one time where I couldn't connect with the main character. And part of it was probably because the way the narrator was delivering that particular character. So sometimes it really depends on how the narrator delivers the story that really makes the listener really resonate with the story, especially if I'm on a long drive, because sometimes I listen to books while I'm on a long drive. Like when I'm driving to New Orleans, that's a long drive from DC. That's a 15 to 17-hour drive. If it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and the only thing between me and going to sleep is listening to a good book, I need that narrator to get me into that story. And I really started looking up narrators when I was listening to James Patterson books, and Dion Graham had really gotten me into the story because he was reading the part of the villain, and the way he was reading the stories, and I was reading he was reading James Patterson's books, and he was reading Eric Jerome Dickey's books. And that's when I really started catching on to his voice. Because I was like, man, he's reading this story. He really made me want to know who this guy was. And the way he was reading the stories, I didn't even want to get out of the car when I got where I was going because of the way he was reading the story.
Yeah.
So that's when I really started looking up narrators when I was listening to him, and that's when I really started like, who is this guy reading this story? And that's when I really wanted to start finding out who these people were, and that's when I heard your voice, and that's why I said, well, wait a minute, what books is she reading? And that's when I saw that you were reading Ken, and you were another one. I would be listening to Ken on the way to work, and some because I catch the bus to work.
Mhm.
And normally I would take off my little glasses, my meta glasses when I got to where I was going. I wouldn't take my glasses off. I kept listening to the story, walking into work. I walked all the way into the building. I walked when I got to the building, I kept walking all the way to my desk, and then I would sit and turn on my computer while I'm still listening to the story because of the way you delivered the story.
Yeah.
So when a person is telling the story and delivering the story well, you don't want to stop listening. But
Yeah.
if you're not delivering the story well, oh, I'm gonna turn the story off. And that's why I was
Yeah.
saying at the beginning of the interview with the story I'm listening to now, one, I don't like the way the male character is being delivered. He sounds like a demon, and I'm like, okay, I don't like this. And so um the narrator just like I say, it's a big part in the way I want to hear the story. So kudos to you for the way you deliver a story.
Thank you. No, and I think like what I'll say for myself is that I think that's the blessing of working with really great directors. For
So
me,
you do have a director when you're delivering. You're not just in the booth by yourself.
yeah, for the most part, when I'm working with, usually when I'm working with one of the big five publishers, and specifically with Penguin Random House, there's always a director who's working with me, who has read the book and who can hear what I can't hear, We're having conversations like I'm in the booth. A lot of times the directors aren't like right there with me. They're in listening through Zoom, but there's an engineer there, it's myself, and there's a director. And we will pause sometimes and discuss like what is the choice that I have to make right now with my voice for this particular moment. And there are times where I'm thinking that I'm reading it the right way because I interpreted it one way, but then we have a conversation and then I tweak it for the next take. And it's like, oh, that was like everybody can hear it, like, oh, that was so much better. So there's an element of this that is actually performance. And you don't, to Gwen's point, you don't have to have a background in performance, but to become better, you have to learn performance. And you have to be able to take direction. So those are all skills that make a great narrator. One of my favorite narrators is Nicole Lewis, and she performed a book called Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. And I was so taken with how she did the different character voices. And she just gave like just such a great performance of this young Black woman who was, I think she was being a nanny for a white family in Philadelphia. And just like the nuances of it all, being able to be the white mother, the white father, the young Black girl from Philly. I was so taken with that. And I just studied how she did it. And I was like writing things down of like, oh, this is what I really love. Why do I love this? And then to Dr. Lawson's point, I listened to some that I didn't particularly like by other narrators, and I was writing down what didn't work and how would I perform this differently? Because I think that's the other thing about critique. It's like, oh, I hated it. You know, that I used to do that, like, oh, I just hated it. But now as a performer, I'm like, well, what was it that I didn't like? So if I'm in the position to read something like this, I can make a different choice and hopefully people won't hate it when they hear me.
Yeah. I was thinking more along the lines of, let's say someone was a high school student and they perform drama while in high school. And that gives them a foundation for doing something like narration, without necessarily having to go through 4 years of college. Because people are looking for, careers now, they're almost like you can make your own career in a lot of ways. There's a lot of different options for things now between podcasts. Because, it's amazing that podcasts have really taken over communication in a very short period of time. There's one for any topic you want to think of. And there are numerous people who are taking numerous different angles on the same topic. So, there's always something new that you can create yourself because the technology is moving so fast that you can almost create your own lane for different things.
Yeah. And I encourage people because I've gotten a lot of DMs on Threads and on Instagram. People like, well, how do you get into this? How do you get into this? And I've taken like phone calls with people and stuff, but I am going to do like a Zoom call where people can come in and ask questions for an hour and I can like let them know how I got in and some of the resources that are available to them. But I know a lot of people are, to your point, Gwen, about like technology moving so fast. A lot of people are concerned about AI and AI taking over audiobooks. And is there going to even still be room for human voices? And is there still time for me to be able to try to be a narrator? And I always tell people that there are publishers that are so committed to human voices for narration because AI cannot, and I tell people this all the time, AI cannot stop and do like what I said to you earlier, like stop, have a conversation and make a different choice.
Right.
It's learning from us and it can only learn so much, but it's still synthetic, right? It's still robotic to whatever degree. So the choices that we get to make as performers, this is art. And I tell people that all the time. It's art. See yourself as an artist, see yourself as a performer, and go into it with that mindset because there's still room, especially for Black narrators, for sure.
And that's the problem is that so last year there were, I believe, I think the number was 45 million books that were published. And believe it or not, as many Black authors as you think there are in the world, of those 45 million books that were published, less than 10% of those books were written by Black authors.
Okay, I was gonna say less than a million, so that is less than 10%.
Yeah, it
Way
was.
less, way less, way
Yeah,
less.
it wasn't very many at all.
Mhm.
And so,
Now
and
people
then
are
that
doing.
that number is even smaller when it comes to the number of audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then when you think about the number of audiobook producers, that number becomes even smaller. So
Yes.
yeah, now I have my own 11 Labs account, and I cloned my voice, but I don't even like I don't even like my I like my voice and I use it for my own content,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't even like my audio. I don't even like my cloned voice for my own audiobook because it's not giving me the inflections that I want. And I
Mm-hmm.
did try it out. I did like a sample chapter just to see what it would sound like, and I didn't like the inflections. It's not giving me the inflections that I would want. Because I was like, okay, well, I'll save myself some time because I would narrate my own book anyway. Why not? I'll try and see what
Right.
happens. But I'm like, no, it's not giving what I would give if I were to read it myself.
Right.
No, it's not doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just don't think I'm gonna go this route. If
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it myself, I'll just read it
Yeah.
myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, AI is cool for some things. If I needed to do some content for me, I'll let it do some content for me. But when I'm ready to do my audiobook, my friend has a studio in his house. I'll just go to his house. I'm like, hey, let me use your microphone. I'm ready to read my book now. He already said I can go over there. Just gonna have to just take the time and just sit over there for a
Yeah.
few hours and read it.
Yeah.
So Mario, I'm coming over one of these days. So
So do you do any reading at home or do you do go in, it's all in studio? Or do you
Um,
have your own studio at home?
yeah, I have a makeshift studio in my walk-in closet.
Okay.
And so there are some books that I'll record from home. And those typically are the ones that I'm doing on my own. Those are typically the ones that are with smaller presses, so they don't really,
Mhm.
have the resources for directors and engineers and all that sort of thing. So I'm typically kind of what they call punch and roll, recording it myself, which
Hmm.
basically means I'm using a program on my laptop. My uh, microphone is hooked up to my laptop, and I'm recording myself. But if I make a mistake, I have to stop, go back to just before the mistake, and re-record so that it's as clean as possible.
Okay.
Um,
Now what did you say it's called?
it's called Punch and Roll.
Punch
I
and
like that.
roll. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
This all kind of new, different lingo when it comes to audiobooks. And
Yeah.
I'm not an audiobook. The audience knows I'm not an audiobook listener.
Hmm.
I've tried it once and then went to sleep. And I didn't even get to about like 10 pages and that put
Well,
me to sleep.
stop trying to read
Yeah.
audiobook. Try listening to audiobooks while you're in the bed. That's not when you're supposed to do it.
No, I was sleepy. I wasn't intending to fall asleep. I think it may have been an AI generated voice or it was so monotone. It was
Mm.
there were no uh, the voices didn't fall, rise and fall. There was no inflections.
Hmm.
So it was difficult it really was monotone. And so monotone puts you to sleep. That's just,
Yeah, no, see, but that goes back to what we were talking about
yeah.
earlier. It really depends on the narrator. Now,
Yeah.
Rhonda Curry Coffee, I like your name, Rhonda,
Hmm.
and not because you have my name either. I just like your name, Rhonda Curry Coffee. She asked, when did you feel it was time to invest in your own studio setup?
Um, so I kind of had all the pieces because I'm a producer.
Hmm.
The only piece that I didn't have initially was a microphone because I was always behind the scenes, so I didn't need to record myself. So
Okay.
the microphone was the only missing piece. I had the software, I had the like external hard drives, I had the laptop, all the things, but I just didn't have the microphone. So um, the day that I decided I was going to go ahead and try my hand or my voice at audiobook narration was the day that I went on Amazon and bought a mic. And that cost me like I think like 250. But yeah, I'd already had all the pieces. Hmm
So that's a nice microphone at 250.
Yeah, that's
That's
more
not
than
your standard
the
stuff.
microphones. I have this microphone right here,
hmm
and I have another little stand-up microphone, and I
hmm
have another little microphone somewhere that I don't use anymore. I like this microphone though, right here.
And those are very convenient.
Yeah, and it has another microphone that goes with it. So this is the one I use when I go to the National Black Book Festival because
Oh, okay.
I can give this to the person that I'm interviewing.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
Mm.
think for a lot of people the struggle is like figuring out where they're going to record if their home is like noisy or things like that. But I
Right.
know
Mm.
there have been times where there have been times where I was on vacation or I was like visiting someone in another state and I would have to go makeshift and go in a closet, put a blanket over my head and record something really quickly, you know. Um,
Yeah,
and
to
Have you
keep
heard
the
of
sound.
it
people turning their closets into?
She said her closet was a
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
closet
she
is my
said
studio.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, I've
It's
seen them.
insulated with my clothes because my clothes are literally all around me. So it's not like I
Oh, that
even have
makes
to
sense.
spend any
Okay.
money to insulate, you know? So,
Yeah,
Wait,
that's to
what does
keep
your
the
shirt
sound
say?
in.
Reading.
oh, reading is my favorite sport.
Oh,
I
okay.
love
That.
Yes.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, TikTok
it.
shop got me. So,
Oh,
but
so if you could give a person who was interested in audiobook narrating, like
mhm.
one piece of advice, what would it be?
Um, the first piece of advice I would give is to read out loud at least 10 minutes a day and read from all different genres of books because I didn't think that I would enjoy narrating young adult fiction. And now that's a good portion of the kind of fiction of the kind of books that I narrate now.
Okay.
But I would say read out loud at least 10 minutes a day to get used to, first of all, to build your lungs because you're sitting in a booth
Yeah,
for
that
5
makes
hours a
sense.
day,
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Um,
Okay.
so because I'm trying to think for Ken, I think it was 3 days for me, and it was 3 days, 5 hours each day, right? So you're sitting, and obviously you have breaks, you take lunch and all those things, but you're sitting there for a very long time, so you have to build the stamina. So I would say get
Mhm.
used to reading for extended periods of time and see if it's something that you even enjoy once you have to do that for an extended period of time. Because it may
Mhm.
be that you just like listening to them, or you just like, you like reading a physical book at your leisure, but not going through with it for that long, for that long of a period. So
Mhm.
How do
yeah.
you keep from getting tongue-tied? Or what if you yawn in the middle of your writing
So when I'm
or
in the
your reading, I should say?
studio, yeah, when I'm in the studio, there it's just continuously rolling. So I could be reading a book and I stumble over the sentence and I'm like, I'm like, okay, wait, let me go back. And I'm saying these things out loud. And I'm like, wait, I'll say like, dang it, what's wrong with me? Okay, let me go back. So you can hear all of that, the editors hear all of that, but they're editing out all of the messed up takes and getting it right for me at the end. So I love going into the studio because I don't have to like fix it myself.
Do you ever put your bloopers on Instagram?
No, but it's so funny you said that because last week I was like, I really need to do this and I'm gonna do the little bleep noise for every time I cuss when I mess up. Because there are moments where I'm like, hey guys, I think I need to like get up and walk around for a minute because I'm like I feel myself getting frustrated with myself. And they're like, yeah, no, let's take five. Everybody relax, you know. Um, but yeah, it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating to get the hang of because this is the other thing. Different authors have different styles of writing. So there are some authors who have lots of run-on sentences or like very long sentences, and there's not a lot of commas. So when I'm prepping a book, I have to like sort of put those commas in for myself to know when I need to take a breath in order to get this whole sentence out, you
Oh,
know,
Right.
wow.
and things
Okay.
like that. So it
Hmm.
it can be frustrating at moments, but man, when you get it right and everybody hears that like that one thing that was messing you up, you get it right, it's the best feeling. Yeah.
Now, we only have 1 minute left. What about socialization? Like, is it isolating being a
Um,
narrator?
is it isolating? I think it's not so isolating for me. It has not been because I started out in the Penguin Random House audiobook narrator mentorship program that they had. So
Oh,
I
okay.
started after I got my first book with them. I was accepted into that program. So I had a cohort of people that I went through that program with for 6 months, and we kind of all sort of still congregate in digital spaces together, and then every now and then see each other around the country sometimes. And because I'm more vocal on social media about what I do, I've built community, so I don't feel as isolated as I probably would have if I had been stayed very quiet on social and had not gone through that program. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're done with our time. Tell everybody how they can connect with you on social media.
Yeah, you can connect with me everywhere pretty much at Ashley J Hobbs, ASHLEYJHOBBS. And my website is www.ashleyjh.com.
Well, I just put your link in the chat, so hopefully everybody will click that link and reach out to you.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. This has been really fun.
Oh, thank you. Really enjoyed the conversation.
All righty. Talk
Good
soon.
luck to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Keep reading those books.
I will.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Well, we're at the last interview,
Yeah, tonight's show is
and
going
it is
fast. It's
going
already
really
the last
fast.
person.
I know already. It is going very fast. And Kirstie, um,
Hi.
hi, Kirstie
Hi.
Myvett writes books. I believe they're for middle grade, but you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And they're historical novels, which is really nice. So, Kirstie, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
So your books are for middle grade, or is it young adult?
It is so my latest book is a middle grade book,
Okay.
and I've also written a picture book, and I've also written two books that are kind of for reluctant readers. They're kind of in the middle between picture chapter books as well. But
Okay.
my latest book is a middle grade novel, The Four Seasons of Florence Wallace.
Okay. And from what I saw of your other books, you write historical books about real people.
Yes, mostly historical. Absolutely.
So tell us about Florence Wallace. That's not a name we commonly hear.
No. So, The Four Seasons of Florence Wallace is a middle grade book. It just came out May 26th, so it's
Mhm,
very new still.
mhm.
And it's about a girl who is sent to the orphanage, the Colored Orphan Asylum in New York in 1863. And so this is a temporary solution. Her mother is trying to get back on her feet after her father dies. And so she sends her to this orphanage. And of course, she doesn't want to go there. And she's very reluctant to be there. She doesn't want to make friends. She doesn't want to adjust in any way. But she spends a year at the orphanage and she learns and grows. She develops friendships and she starts to nurture a dream within her. And all that is kind of put on the line when the Civil War draft riots take place and the orphanage is destroyed. She
Mm.
starts to wonder, are the dreams of a colored girl or a little Black girl even worth pursuing? So the orphanage did exist. And in the Civil War draft riots, also, this is based on a real life incident that happened in 1863.
Oh, okay. Now, how common were orphanages for Black children at that time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, in New York, it wasn't common at all. At this time period, there were orphanages for Catholics, the Jewish Children's Orphanage, Protestant, but there was no orphanage that would accept Black children. So at this, in this time period, children who were Black either lived on the street or they were sent to like mental asylums where adults were. So both obviously were dangerous for children. And these Quaker women saw a need. They saw little Black children on the streets and they were, very disturbed by that. So they were the founders of the first building of the first orphanage, the Colored Orphan Asylum. And they quickly outgrew their first building and ended up building this grand structure on Fifth Avenue in what is today Manhattan. It was the only institution that housed Black children. So it was very, very important in its day.
The Quakers did a lot, and they're a very small group, but they were very involved with the Underground Railroad, helping in the abolitionist movement, helping to free slaves. And did your research unveil any information about what motivated them to be in this space? Because this wasn't a common thing for white people to
Right.
do,
Yeah.
even in the North.
Even in the North, absolutely. Yeah. So pretty much, my research, it seems that these women saw Black children on the street, and there was an elder Black woman who was kind of looking out for them, and they gave her money. And about a week or so later, when they came back, they couldn't believe all that she had done with the little bit of money they had given her. Like she had clothed like 5 or 6 kids, and she had prepared food for them. And they saw how great the need was. And they felt it was their Christian responsibility to do something. They were women of means. And I believe 2 of them were unmarried, so they could kind of do what they wanted to do. They had connections, and they just felt very passionate about it. And they soon were able to get the support of kind of like the Black society of that time. Black people who were of means soon did support them because they were very strategic. They hired the first Black doctor, Dr. William Smith McCoon. He was the first licensed doctor in America. So they hired him, and they knew that if they had, Black people in these really like leadership positions, that they could trust this institution, even though the founders were white women. There was enough Black people in the institution that they felt, okay, they're going to look out for the kids. It's going to be a safe place, and we can support them. We can stand behind them financially, and they would have fundraisers and fetes and things like that for the orphanage as well.
Yeah, I don't think they had any orphanages in the South. Well, during the Civil War, it was slavery time anyway. But after that, it was more someone would take the children or the child in. Someone in the community would take them in. And it could be a relative, or it might just be a woman who didn't have children of her own, or just some women, their kids are all grown and they just have a heart for children.
Yes, very true.
They have a heart for children, and you really just have to hope you find somebody with a heart for children, because it's usually that 1 or 2 people who have a heart for children, but there aren't programs or facilities or things to that nature.
Yeah.
So tell us about what your other books cover in terms of topics.
Okay, sure. My first picture book is The Praline Lady, and it's about It's also a historical fiction based on real life Praline ladies. I'm a New Orleanian, and Pralines are synonymous.
So is Rhonda.
Well, no, I was actually going to get to that
You
because I
know
was
that?
well, yeah, because when I was reading up on you, I saw that you were in Metairie, Louisiana, and I was going to ask why, well, not why, but how did you get interested in a story that took place in New York, but you were in New Orleans?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know. I was doing research on 19th century Black Americans, and a lot of the information centered in New York. And it just led me there. That's the great thing about being a writer is you can write about any place.
Of course.
Yeah, but yeah, no,
But you know how we are. We always want to write about home. So that's why I
yes,
was wondering why you decided
exactly.
to write about New York.
Exactly. And my other stories are definitely that I'm working on are more centered here in Louisiana. But I just when I learned about the orphanage and the history of it, it was just a story that wouldn't let me go because it's virtually unknown. Like even in New York, people do not know that this happened, that rioters intentionally set
Yeah.
fire and attacked this orphanage while these children were there.
And that's so
And,
sad. Yeah.
like we're getting ready to celebrate our 250th American birthday anniversary. And I think it's just a part of our collective history that needs to be told. All of these, stories that are coming to light that have kind of been buried. So I'm excited to get to tell it. But yeah, Praline Lady was my first picture book. It's based on the New Orleans praline ladies of yesteryear. They made and sold pralines on the streets in the French Quarter long before they were made and sold in candy stores. That was something that Black women did. And so that picture book came out in 2020 during the pandemic. And I've written two books about what you never knew about Rihanna with Clarion Books, and which you never knew about SZA, which I didn't even know how to pronounce SZA until my kids told me. so those are biography books, and it was a lot of fun learning about them and sharing what I learned in those books as well. So this is actually my fourth book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with SZA. My daughter, she's 30, so that's in her
Oh,
wheelhouse. And she mentioned it
yes.
to me, and I think she was on some show or something happened, and I'm like, what? I can't even pronounce it. I looked at it and I was just, flabbergasted. I said, what is it? But I still can't tell you what she does because I don't know. Is she a rapper or a singer?
She's
She's
a
a
singer.
singer, and
Oh,
she's
okay.
so talented. She's a
She's very
writer too.
talented.
She writes,
I
she's
think did she do
beautiful,
the
she
back
sings.
like the movie or something? Did she do
She did
like
a movie recently.
soundtrack to something? It
Yeah.
was some
Oh, the
reason
Black
why.
Panthers. She did that with
Oh,
with
okay,
Kendrick Lamar, and she
okay,
did a movie recently with Keke Palmer. So
okay. All right. That's where it came up. So anyway, I'm not really connected in with the younger artists. I hear about them here and there, and
yeah, I can
it's really
relate.
here and there.
Yeah.
I love old school music, and it's just to me, it's nothing like it. So, but every generation has its own sounds, and so it tells a lot about the um, the times, the culture of the time. So, the
Yes.
music really does tell that story.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
So,
does.
so the person in the new book you have about the orphanage, she's one of the children that's in the orphanage. Is that
Yes.
okay?
Lawrence Wallace is the main character, and she's a fictional character, and it's her story. It's her year living there and growing and making friends and experiencing all these different things. Um, and it takes place over the course of a year. That's why it's like the four seasons of Florence Wallace. Yeah.
Okay,
It makes
okay.
sense.
And
Yeah.
then the fire happens. Is that the how the book ends, or
Yeah, it's kind of the climax of the book. So the fire takes place. The orphanage is completely destroyed. They were actually sent to Blackwell Island. It still exists today. I'm not sure what's on there, but it was a place where they had like a mental asylum, a jail. It was just an island for different purposes. And they were sent there for several months until they could find another building for them and then build the orphanage elsewhere because the neighbors didn't want them to return. They were afraid. And actually, I don't know the exact numbers, but the draft riots, it was like this major exodus of New Yorkers out of the city at that time because they didn't feel safe. And the population of Black people kind of dwindled after the riots, which would make sense, right? You don't feel safe. You've just been attacked in your home. But they did go on and rebuild. And I believe they pretty much existed until whatever orphanages ended, maybe in the 50s or 40s or 60s or something. I'm not sure.
I hear more, well, here and there. I haven't studied it, but the common thought is that in New York and the northern states, that Black people we weren't slaves, but we had a better life. But there's still a lot of things going on that weren't great, that weren't good at all. And those things don't get the same attention as what happened in the South gets.
No, they don't. And, that was one of the things that I think surprised people is when we think of the Civil War, we don't necessarily think of New York. We think of the South.
Right.
Right? We don't think New York is this cosmopolitan, progressive city with all these different cultures and people.
I think we sometimes think that everything happened in the South, that New York is just this metropolis where everything was just wonderful and
almost
everything
like
was coming
Nirvana,
up roses. Yeah, like some type of Nirvana. And all of the racism and all of the lynching and everything terrible was going on in the South, and that everything great was happening up north in Boston and New York. And that wasn't the case.
No, it wasn't. And that is surprising to a lot of people, but many New Yorkers had a vested interest in the enslavement of Black people in the South. That's how they acquired their wealth. So for, months and months, the media was just feeding these lies, fake news that, well, when all the enslaved people are free, they're going to come up north and take your jobs. And so they just feel this really toxic environment that just exploded. Of course, that did not happen. Enslaved people did not flock to the north and take anyone's jobs, but it had just, been blamed. The flames had been fed really by the media and the people who were New Yorkers who did not want, they didn't want slavery to end. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the show, this HBO show, The Gilded Age, it doesn't show slavery, but it shows the parallel lives of the Black people in New York. Well, it was
I still have not seen it. I have to watch that.
It's a great show. It has the Black people that are in that show that are depicted are your educated class that they had homes and things like that. They still had to constantly deal with racism. So, but it's a very balanced picture, and it shows the Black people as having their own lives and their own culture, not just like accessories to white people. They weren't just maids,
Yeah.
They were educated people, doctors.
That's right.
They had journalists. They have a depiction, or the Black newspaper that was the newspaper at the time is part of the storyline for the show. So
yeah,
I think it's been 3 seasons, and there's a lot of drama and there's the right amount of drama with everybody
Yeah.
in there. So
There,
it's really good.
there's two questions in the chat, and I'm gonna ask them both at the same time because I think they're kind of connected a bit. But Rhonda Curry Coffee is asking that you don't stick to genre, you follow the story. But then Leon asked, um, you at they're looking on your site and wanted to know why you call your series American Stories. And the reason why I'm asking the questions at the same time is I don't know that you stick to a genre. You follow the story because I feel like if it's a great story, you're going to follow it, but it's still stories about America, or they're American stories. So that's the reason why I'm asking the two questions kind of together. So
Okay. Yeah.
one, it's not so much about genre. Do you just follow the story, and then why do you call it American Stories? And really,
hmm
are you calling it American Stories for Gutsy Girls? I guess that's the name of it.
Okay, I'll answer the first question first.
Okay.
Is the first question, yeah. I don't write in one genre. I write for a magazine as well, and that's all adult uh, topics. So right now, I am traditionally published in KidLit, and
Okay.
Okay.
so my agent sold this book, and it inspired the American Stories for Gutsy Girls. And so it's coming out as a three-part series. I've only written the first book. The other
Oh,
author is Latina, and the third author is neurodivergent. And so it's just telling American stories from different perspectives that aren't at the forefront, that aren't normally told. So I had nothing to do with the American Stories for Gutsy Girls series.
Mm.
It just came about when they acquired my book. So
Oh.
okay. So
hopefully that answers.
the
Yes.
publisher gave it
Yes, the
that name.
publisher.
Okay.
Yes, the publisher is Tommy Nelson. It is a part of HarperCollins. And so they've
Oh, Thomas Nelson.
created,
Yeah.
yeah, they've created this series. So we're excited about that. It's new. People who love some of the other series from back in the day, they're excited to see another book for girls series, the other American Girl series books. I don't know if you remember those. So they're kind of
Yeah.
excited to see a
Mhm.
new series that
Yeah,
has been launched. So hopefully that answers.
I think so.
Yeah. Because a lot of times the publisher has something in mind. It's not the author putting the label on there. It's the publisher. And it could be the author, but a lot of times it's the publisher. They made a decision. They wanted to do a three-part, and they wanted to have three different cultures, and so that's
Yes.
they labeled it Gutsy Girls, which is
Yes.
Actually,
mhm.
I
I
like
like
that
that.
gutsy girls because
Mhm,
they are gutsy girls. Each
mhm,
of the girls that you feature are gutsy in some way.
Yeah, for sure. Florence is definitely gutsy and brave and loyal and a friend. And it's the perfect label for her. So
mhm. Did you travel to New York to research this book?
I did not. So thankfully, there is so much available in terms of research on the internet. The Library of Congress offers you free access to books written 100 years or more. The story set in 1863, so I was in good territory.
Okay.
Newspapers were also available, and I had access to that in books. But I did reach out to um, a professor, a retired professor emeritus, William Sarell, and he wrote a book about the orphanage, a nonfiction book about the founders. And he and I have been in communication, and I could bounce any and every question off of him, and he graciously answered and helped. And I mentioned him in the book because he was so gracious and helpful to me in writing this.
Nice.
But
Well,
hopefully I will be visiting New York soon for sure.
Well, I'm
It's
mad
this.
that I didn't meet you sooner. You should have been on the show like before February, so that way I could have invited you to my Black History Month literary weekend, which was in New Orleans back in
Oh,
February.
yeah.
If
Well,
I had
remember me
met
for
you
next
sooner.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, now we know. We'll stay in
exactly.
touch.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, do you have another book coming up after this one that you're working on?
I do. Next year, I have a picture book coming out with Candlewick. It's called The Moss Picker. I have a theme for careers of yesteryear. And if you're a Southerner like me, then you know that we have these beautiful cypress and oak trees that have Spanish moss in them.
Mhm.
And it's hauntingly beautiful. But once upon a time, it was a way that people made money. They picked moss and they took it to a ginnery and it was cleaned and processed and used to stuff automobile seats and bed mattresses and all that. So that picture book comes out next year, and my illustrator for that book is the prolific James Ranson. So I'm excited to be promoting that when that time comes as well.
No, I didn't know they use the moss for those purposes.
Yeah, they did.
First time hearing about that.
Yes, yes.
Mhm. They're more. I think they're very common in Louisiana.
Yes, Louisiana, Florida, the Carolinas,
Hmm.
Georgia.
Yeah, it's a southern tree. We had them in North Carolina when I lived there as a
Yeah.
child. We think we had one in our yard. And
Oh,
you
wow.
could sit under it. You could go behind the leaves and sit there and
Yeah.
really kind of hide behind them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they just kind of drip and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
These days, they're like the backdrops in photos. People use them for their backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a way for many Black people to make a living back in the day off the land. You just go
I
and
never knew
pick the
about that,
moss. Yeah.
using it to stuff things. I didn't know that was new information. So there's so many things from the past that we still are learning. And I'm glad that there are people who are deciding to go back and find these stories and bring them to the forefront for children and adults.
It just goes
Yes,
to show that, there's still so much that our young people still need to learn. I mean, there are still so many stories out there that we just don't know yet. So that means we can't stop learning.
that's right.
Right. Well, children and adults. Because I
Exactly.
learn every week, I learn something from somebody that's a guest on the show, uh, something new that I didn't know. Uh, and it's just learning about the audiobook narration. That's the information for me. Just the background of how people do it, get into it, and just some of the things that they do professionally to make it happen.
Yeah.
So, Kirstie, thank you so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV. Congratulations on your books and for your next one coming up about the moss leaves. I need to look into that some more and learn about.
Yes. You'll have
That's
to have
so
me back for that.
fascinating. Yeah, when it comes out,
Yeah.
drop me a line and
Okay,
we'll
I
work on it.
will.
We'll work on it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Okay,
you for being here tonight.
have a great night.
You too. Take care.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. So, for those who may have tuned in late, this was our birthday show. Rhonda and I's, our birthdays are 9 days apart. My birthday was Saturday. Rhonda's birthday is Monday. So, Rhonda, happy birthday.
Thank
And I
you.
hope
Happy
you
birthday to
enjoy
you.
yourself. I had a great birthday. And, they're all good. If you have, like I say, if you have your health and you got your marbles rolling around in your brain, you haven't lost them all. You can still move around without too much pain. Um, it's all good. So I do want to let people know if you want to sign up for the National Black Book Festival, we have exactly four slots left. So, and we don't expect them to be there after the end of the month. So it's first come, first serve, and then we'll be totally sold out. But we're so excited about this year. It's going to be a great year. So that's it for tonight. We'll be back next week for another exciting episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.